This is the Fifine Amplitank Tank 3 that I think is one of the best built microphones I've ever tried. It's got a full metal body and a design done right, and I am pertaining to the mic's capsule positioning being recessed inside the mic's housing for more plosive rejection and better handling of proximity effect. Now, I promise I will simplify these terms throughout the review so you know what I mean. And also, throughout this whole video, we will be using the Tank3. Now, just refer to the text in the bottom left corner for gain settings, distance, and whatnot. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. So, this is a dynamic cardioid microphone with a pickup frequency range of 50 Hz to 16 kHz. I personally prefer dynamic mics as they are less sensitive and they better handle background noise suppression versus condenser microphones. This records at 16-bit 48K via USB and also has an XLR output, which we will explore further later on. The max sound pressure level of this mic is rated at 120 decibels, which is enough for singing high notes. I am a vocalist and I shout a lot into my microphones, and based on my experience, 120 decibels max sound pressure level is enough to handle my screams. The mic features a mute button that glows green and glows red when muted. Then it also features two knobs for gain and playback or monitor volume. Now, speaking of real-time monitoring, so the Tank3 here has real-time monitoring. And over at Windows sound settings, just right-click your volume icon in your taskbar and then click on sound settings. Scroll down and click on more sound settings. Over here at the playback tab, double-click on the Fifine microphone, click on levels, and here you will be able to customize how loud your real-time monitoring is. So you could deactivate that with the mute button right here, or you can increase volume or decrease volume. Now I'm using a $20 microphone, and speaking about 1 inch away from the microphone, and yeah, the bass pickup is really a little bit too loud than I want. It drowns out the mids and the trebles, and that is what we call the proximity effect. There is more bass pickup the closer you speak to the microphones. Let's test out the Tank3 this time. So right now, I'm using the Tank3 at about the same distance as I was using the previous microphone, and as you can see, there's less bass pickup, even if I'm speaking really close to the microphone. Now, this is beneficial for cases where you want to speak as close to the microphone as possible and turn down the gain as low as possible so that you don't pick up as much background noise as possible. What this does is it creates more vocal isolation, and it just basically makes your voice more clear versus the background noise or static. And in this case, even if I speak closer to this microphone, the proximity effect is handled really well by the Tank3. So kudos to Fifine for being able to make this happen on this unit. Moving on to the gain test, right now I am about 4 inches away from the microphone at 100% gain. If I lessen the gain to about 75%, this is what I would sound like. Again, I'm at 4 inches away. Now, if I go 50%, test microphone, 4 inches away at 50%, let me move my mouth closer. So now I'm about 2 inches away from the microphone at 50% gain. Let's go 25%. So now I'm at 25% at 2 inches away. Let me move closer at 1 inch. Hello, mic test. I am 1 inch away from the tip of the microphone, and this is how it sounds like at 25%. So that's it for the gain test. So before we conclude this review, I'd like to first give another kudos to Fifine for a really solid build and overall construction. The mic, along with its mount, is mostly made of metal with the exception of the knobs and the mute button. The volume knob and gain knob have very minimal wobbling to them, which adds to the overall premium feel of the microphone. The cable is thick and rubberized, and I have no complaints about it so far. The microphone's mount has a dual mic thread that is compatible with a 3/8 inch and a 5/8 inch microphone stand. Moving on to the capsule within the microphone, it is recessed, which results in better response to proximity effect and plosive rejection. So really good, solid build all around. Overall, I think the Tank3 is a really good choice, especially for vocalists. The way it picks up voice is really good and very neutral. Usual podcast microphones have a muddy, overly bassy pickup, which I think is fatiguing to listeners, especially because of the lack of clarity in your voice. And I personally also am not a fan of podcast tunings where microphones are tuned to pick up lots of the lower frequencies that sometimes result in a muddier pickup. The only room for improvement here would be the sampling rate of the mic at USB mode, only at 48 kHz max. Some people prefer 24-bit 96K, but your ears really wouldn't hear the difference. At least my ears don't, and you might disagree with me. As for plosive rejection, throughout the recording, I heard very minimal plosives thanks to the built-in foam cap and the recessed capsule. I'm moving on now with this being the new main microphone on my workstation. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below, and check out the links I'll put in the description on where to get your Fifine Amplitank Tank 3. I'll see you guys again next time.